Hello, this is Lori Sage. I am teaching the basic clothing course. The first thing that you want to do is you want to go to your Create. In Create, you want to go to the Education Center. On the search tutorials, you want to put in minimum coverage guidelines. You click Go, and then you click the virtual goods policy. Scroll down. When you get to the female template, right click, save image as, female MCG for minimum coverage guidelines .jpg. Now you want to find a template. To find a template, the easiest way for your size is to go to a size that you wear, that you already own. I'm going to put in extra, extra large because that's what I wear. And just find a dress in the style that you want. I'm going to find a tight dress. Click it. Now here, you're going to see it's called a derivation tree. Now mine, I already have done this before, so mine will automatically go to it. You click there. These are templates that show your underwear here. This is your dress on the left. Down here is the sleeve. If you want to right click and save each of these, you can. You can save one as a body template, a dress template, a sleeve template. You can use those as guidelines. And then you go scroll down to derive from product. Click that. This is your editor. I picked a tight dress, so you can see that I have a tight dress. We're not going to dress her up. We're going to leave her as she is. You're going to go to GIMP. You're going to open GIMP. You're going to bring up that female minimum coverage guidelines template. I'm going to show you how to make a pair of underwear. Now when you look at this, you see red. If there is any red showing in your fit, any of these areas, then it's AP. We are going to make a GA fit, which means that all of that red has to be covered. So I want you to go down here to background where it says 100% background. Click that and go to 400%. This is very important. Whenever you're working in your template, you have to use these slides. There's one on the right hand side. There's one on the bottom. If you need to find an area, you always use these slides. You never ever click in the middle and move. We're going to go to the underwear first. I want you to click your free select tools, third from the top. And just underneath the red, don't click right at the edge, click underneath it and to the side of it. I want you to outline this red. And then go to the bottom. Go to Edit and fill with white. Do the same for the other side. Just underneath the red and just to the side of it.
So you do not click exactly on the.
No, because you will end up with red in your fit. It's not perfect. I want you to click white there and see this little edge. We'll deal with that later. In the middle, I want you to go across just on the outside of it, just underneath it, and just up, and fill that with white. I will minimize it so you can see that you have this all white. And then at the top, where the bra is, where this red is, I want you to just take a paintbrush and fill it in with white. Okay. Now I want you to take your black paint, make sure that your black paint is on the foreground color, and go back to your free select tool. And I want you to outline the bra. It's just dot by dot. It's not hard. You don't have to really think about it. You just dot by dot go around it.
So it doesn't matter if you exactly on the line.
No, it doesn't. You want to try to make it neat, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
And your free select tool lets you move around the bra is freely instead of like the I mean like the rectangle square.
Yeah, the rectangle square is only a rectangle.
Okay.
Free select, you can go anywhere you want. You just click.
Okay.
You just move it where you want it, click. Move it where you want it, click. See? It's like a connect the dot.
Okay. And like you said, I noticed that you're moving
The slides.
the slides.
I'm using slides to move over to see because you never want to move the background of your template because give
On it.
it will click on it and move it
Okay.
and then you won't have a centered texture. It will give you a I can show you in a minute what it'll do.
Right. I can see
I
that before.
yes.
I did it with moving the putting the cursor on the project on the picture, and it
hmm
clicked, and it wasn't, and I had to start all over.
Now this is what I want you to pay attention to. I want you to pay attention to this.
Right.
I'm not going to go down on the bra. I'm going to go up to the top. Up to the top. Now, don't click outside of it. Click in it. Go over. Don't click outside of it. Click in it. If you do click outside of it, it'll all disappear.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep. So, and then connect your first dot with your last dot.
Okay.
And now you can see what it's going to do. You go to edit
Mhm.
and fill with black. Mine is my foreground color. And so the top part is black.
Okay.
Now we're going to do the same thing for the middle. This is a very, very simple way to get your underwear that passes your MCG. Now, MCG is those red dots that we covered up. That means if the red is showing, if your fit, it won't be red exactly, but if your fit is showing where those red spots are, that means it's AP. That means you're showing a little too much flesh for a general audience, and so we want to show you how to pass your GA fits. That way you can make GA fits and they can be extremely sexy. They do not have to be showing everything to be, so they're not sexy. But you don't have to have the entire bra and the entire underwear to pass GA, just those red. But we're going to use these for now. And see, I connected the dots.
Mhm.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to fill that with black.
Okay.
I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. The thing about your minimum coverage guidelines that is so important is if you don't name your fit AP and you don't pass it, you can be disabled. So it's extremely important that you know how to pass it and that you name your products, anything that you make.
So I have to name it right. So if I name it, if so if I have like some of the red showing, and I don't name it AP, it can get me in trouble.
Yes, you can be disabled. Normally, what they'll do is they'll give you a warning and they will just re-rate it.
Okay.
But you can be disabled. It's up to the discretion of IMVU.
Okay.
If they think it's really terrible, they might disable you. If they think that it's, a normal
Any
mistake,
minor mistake. Okay.
yes, then they might just, re-rate it. I've been re-rated so many times, it's pitiful. So it just depends. Now, another thing I want to show you, this is very important.
Okay.
These little pink lines,
Yes.
you can't have pink.
Okay.
Pink is red to IMVU. If you see a itty bitty little slight bit of pink and you think, oh, that doesn't matter, well, IMVU thinks it does. So just letting you know, IMVU is quite strict on their guidelines. So now, I stress a clean opacity. That means you're going to whiten these little pink lines, and you're also going to blacken the edges. I am very
Okay,
strict.
so I whiten the inside and I dark and I blacken the outside.
Where it's black, you want to black on these edges. What that does, and it's in every opacity that you make.
Okay.
If you have little gray lines or white lines or whatever in your opacity, when you put that in your fit, it's going to show up as threads. You don't. It looks like a very poorly made thing, and you don't want that. Now,
Okay.
at the top, you don't want to worry about your underwear that should be covered, unless you make a bathing suit or something.
Yeah.
But we're not making a bathing suit, so at the top, where your bra is, I want you to go to your blur tool here. Make sure it is on blur because it is a blur sharpen tool. I want you to find a smaller um, paintbrush and just at, it doesn't have to be everywhere, but just here at the curve of the bra, I want you to go over it one time, once.
Mm.
If you blur too much, you scrub it. I call it scrubbing. It does not look right. So just once, whether you think it looks right or not, don't worry about it.
Okay,
it
Lori. I'm gonna ask you a question because your blur tools on your left look different from mine. So I'm gonna assume that you are in your tool options area, like the
yes,
tool tab.
the toolbox.
Okay, so
If you have the upgraded GIMP, I said imp.
mhm,
If you have the upgraded GIMP to what is it, 2.8,
yes.
then yours are all on one thing. Mine are
Okay,
separate.
so we want to go to
Yes.
the tool tab. Okay, so I just want to make sure I said that because
Yes.
mine's looked different. So I do go into my tool options tab,
Yes.
and I will be able to do that.
Now
Okay.
mine here, it's a teardrop looking thing.
Oh, and it just you click
Yes.
on it and it does it, and it goes to it automatically.
Yes. And if you look,
Okay.
if you click it, if you go down here, you can click the size of the brush, and
Mhm.
down here it'll be sharpen or blur. And I put mine on blur. Make sure it's on blur, or otherwise you're just sharpening it, and that's worse.
Right.
Now you can save this as the same thing as the female minimum coverage guidelines, but what might be a little more helpful to you is to save it as your underwear minimum coverage guidelines.jpg. You always want a .jpg, and you replace. Well, I'm replacing mine because I've made it before, but it's fine. Now,
Okay.
okay.
Now I'm gonna interrupt you one more time.
Hmm.
Now you have an older version, so I'm gonna say for the 2.8 ones, instead of saying save as, you want to make sure you use the export instead of save as, because in 2.8 save as is a little bit different than the other one.
Yes,
It's
and
the same thing. I just want the ones that I taught from my basics that's using 2.8. It's the same. If Lori using save as, it's the same thing as export. So you want to use export.
that's okay. That's fine. And I usually have to export all the time. I export,
Okay.
so it's fine. Now,
Okay.
this is a time saving tool. Make a 256 by 256 black square and name it. I name mine black solid, but you can name yours black square. Doesn't matter. Point JPG. You also want a 512 by or no 256 by 512 square and name it something different, black rectangle or whatever.
Okay. So I would need both black squares
You're
to be the same.
yes. One is 256 by 256. One's 256 by 512. If you look at your editor, I want you to look at your editor. This is a very very important thing. If you click the white here 00,
Mhm.
here is your texture, and on your right is your opacity map. Underneath your texture and opacity map, you see your sizes that the mesher has given you already.
Yes.
256 by 512. And on you click your red, same thing. But if you click your 2, which is your sleeves, it's 128 by 128.
Mhm.
You always want to use the sizes that the mesher gave you. You don't always have to, but you always want to use those if you can, because those are the ones that she put the best look. That your texture will come out with the best look.
Okay.
And if you have a problem with that, go smaller. Always go smaller, not bigger. But right now, we looked at our underwear, so what I'm going to do, we're not going to use sleeves today. So I'm going to black out my sleeves, which means I click my purple, go to my opacity map. I'm going to go to my black square that I already made. And I called mine black solid. You can call yours whatever you want. And that removes my sleeve. Now I'm going to go to,
You can use the 256 for the 128.
yes, because black will always take away. Black always takes away in your opacity.
Okay.
So if you don't want to see material there, use black. If you want to see material there, use white. Or or gray if you put your blending on, but we're not going to do that right now. Now, I want to see what my underwear looks like, so I'm going to take my dress off for now. I'm going to click my pink. I'm going to go to my opacity map, and I'm going to put another black square in. And this one's going to be my bigger one, the 256 by 512. And that shows me my underwear. Okay, now I'm going to go to my underwear, which is in the white, and I'm going to click my opacity map and put in what we just made, which was our female MCG template. I'm going to open that, apply changes.
Oh, okay.
Now, it didn't go. Let's see. Why didn't it go? I named it underwear MCG. Not female. Not female. Okay. Well,
Happens. Look.
I make mistakes too. Yes, I do. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in. Now I'm gonna show what I'm gonna look for. Now you saw the red on her, right?
Yes.
Those were the parts you want covered.
Okay.
So when you click on yourself, go to this pose. It's called MCG pose. That's your minimum coverage guidelines. Now look, see that pink right there?
Yes.
That means it's AP. So you want to fix that. You want to put a little white there on the edge of the underwear. Everything else looks fine.
Yes.
So what you would do basically is you would bring up your that I closed. Why I closed it, I have no idea. I guess I was so full of myself. I thought that I would have done it perfect. But I'm not perfect. Nobody is.
We all not your fine.
Okay, so I'm going to go to my underwear MCG, bring it back up, and it was right on the edge here. So
Yes.
I'm going to fill that in with a little bit of white, just a tad because it was just slightly pink. I'm going to use my free select tool. I'm going to go over and up, and none of the rest of it has to be perfect. Fill it with white, save that. It's the same thing that I already had it. Real quick here. Doesn't take time. It's real easy, and see if that worked. So I named that underwear MCG, and I'm going to go back into my MCG pose and see if it worked. And it didn't. So maybe it's in the back of the underwear part. The back of your underwear part is over here.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over here and fill that in with a little bit of white and see if that works. And save it. And this is another thing you'll find as a dev, and I don't care how good you are and how famous you get, you will have to go over and over and over with your opacities and your textures.
You
So
want to make sure it's clean.
you want to make sure it's clean, you want to make sure it works, you want to make sure it passes, and nobody's perfect, and
Right.
you have to do it over and over. Okay, so now it will pass.
You can
Every,
see it's all clean.
yes, everything is white there, and there's no pink or red, and so it'll pass. Okay, that's your underwear. We're gonna go, okay. I'm gonna show you. This is really cool.
Okay.
This is so cool, and a lot of people don't get this. I'm gonna show you how to make a dress opacity from a pair of underwear, and you're gonna just die when you see how simple it is. You are going to take your free select,
Okay.
and you're gonna just go inside of that bra area, and I'm gonna zoom it and use my slides.
I noticed that you like to have it zoomed in so you can see
The
the
edges.
little corners. Yes.
Yeah. And then you're going to go all the way up to the top. And you're going to, this happens a lot. Where when you zoom, it
Okay.
doesn't want to click. Okay, there it goes. Usually I have to do it over, and then fill with white this time, not black. And now you have a long dress. Isn't that cool?
Oh,
You
that's
can
nice.
yes, you can anchor that. And anchoring, you can use your rectangle select to anchor. Just click outside of whatever it is that you were using.
So when you saying anchoring, all you doing was removing those dotted lines.
hmm
Okay.
Now, I went back to my paint after I anchored. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to go over the edges with white. That so there's no gray or black. So you go over the edges a little bit. And then I'm going to save that as my MCG dress.
Okay.
Because your dress will pass your MCG. You can name it whatever you want.
Okay.
But that's what I'm going to name mine. And I'm going to go to my pink, skip over my texture, go to my opacity map, and I'm going to put MCG dress in there. Apply changes, and now we have a dress.
Oh wow, that's
Yes,
nice.
but it's a ugly dress. Now, the thing that I like about making my dress for my underwear is this little edge. Do you see this edge? It goes around the straps and it goes around here.
Yes.
Well, it gives you a background for your dress. It's already built in.
It does. Yes.
And so you can you can make your background whatever you want. We're going to make the foreground right now.
Okay.
And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to Google. I had Googled black sequin gowns and I found a pretty gown. I found this particular gown here. I thought it was pretty. But you can find any texture you want. You can find a texture, a gown, anything you want to make. We're going to use this. And I think I named mine black teaching dress just so I could find it easy. There it is. Okay, here's your gown. You're going to take your rotating tool if you want and make it completely straight. All you do is rotate it the way you want it, and then you can take your crop tool and cut a piece out. Very easy. Now the thing about I want you to take a look at your template. Your template here that you made. When you go to image and scale image, your template is 256 across and 512 down. The 512 down we're not going to worry about, but the 256 across is very, very important when you're going to make a seamless texture, and that's what we're going to do. You always want to divide by twos. So it doesn't matter how low you go, but it has to be by twos. So 256 divided by 2 is 128. 128 divided by 2 is 64, and 64 divided by 2 is 32. So we always want to make it even to make it seamless. So this is a 120 or 150 width. We're going to backspace that. We're not going to mess with anything else. I like to work with 64. I like a smaller, cleaner look. So I made mine 64 width. I didn't mess with my length. And I'm going to press edit, copy, and on my dress the template that I just made, I'm going to paste that. And then I am going to move it. Here's another trick here on move. This is your move tool. Mine has move the active layer. That means it's only going to move the layer in play, which is this layer. I am going to go to 400, use my slides. Always, always, always use your slides. And I am going to get it just perfect. I don't want it overlapping, I want it just perfect. And then I'm going to click Image, Transform, flip horizontally, Edit, and copy it. Now I'm going to hit Edit and unflip it, and Edit and Paste. You don't have to use your separate texture over here, this one. You can do everything that you wanted to do on the one that you were already on. So you can do it either way. You can transform it on the first one or the second one. It doesn't matter. But you want to get it right there on the edge exactly. I'm hoping that's exact. I'm going to hit image, transform, flip horizontally, edit, copy, edit, undo my flip, and edit, paste. And move it over again and try to get it right there exactly.
So you doing that each every time you
Yeah.
copy or
Every time I go sideways, I'm going across it, and that's 4 times. 64 times 4 is 256.
okay,
So every time I go across, I'm going to flip it horizontally, and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to unflip it and paste it. I'm just flipping and copying, flipping and pasting. Okay, now I'm going to check to see it's perfect. Okay, now it's perfect for that part, but you want to go all the way down. So I'm going to use my rectangle select, go all the way to the top of it, and you don't want any white. You just want the edge of the black. Press enter. Now you're going to image, transform, and flip vertically. And you're going to copy and undo your flip and paste. Because now you're going underneath it, so you want vertical. And so you go all the way down here and all make sure your slides are perfect and get it perfect in there. And then now you got to image, transform, flip vertical again, and copy, undo your flip, and paste. All those are under your edit and your image. And you're going to move it with your move tool. And you have the whole thing in. And you have this texture. It might not be perfect. You might want to use something else, but we're just teaching you what you can do. And sometimes you want to sharpen it, so you go to filters, enhance, sharpen. Because it's a sparkly type dress, you might want to sharpen it up a little bit and get a lot of sparkles in there. The higher you go, the more sparkles you get. It doesn't really matter. It's up to your taste. And then you want to save that as your texture. So I'm going to name this teaching texture just for me, but you can name it whatever you want to name it. And I named it a .jpg. You can use JPG. You can use PNG. I'm going to put that in my texture, which is the first one. So you click pink, and I'm going to put it under the texture edit, and I named it teaching. And you apply changes, and you get a dress. Now, if you want to see what it will look like on your person, you click your hanger and just put a dress on. And it'll bring your if you do the hanger one, your safe fits. Mine's being slow. You'll get your avatar and everything in there, and you can see what you look like. So there, it gives you, yeah, it gives you a better idea of what you're going to look like. Now we still have the underwear to do, and see how we use the underwear here.
yes,
Now on this particular fit, black might look great, or if you want a little bit of a jazzy look, you can do red. Now it's really easy. You can take your same template that you already made
okay,
and go to your paints and find a nice red that you like. You can, a really pretty red. On your underwear, it doesn't really make a difference. You can just do a solid red. If you want it to look a little different, you can change that up. And we can just name this red.
oh, you are replacing the pink
I'm
with
replaced,
black.
well, the white on here. Well, on that,
Oh, that's for the background. Okay,
yeah, I just used the same size. I used that for the same size, so I didn't have to make a brand new one.
right.
And then I just put my red. I just named it red, and I put it in there, and I give myself a little red edge.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, there's one other thing that I want to teach you as far as is making a simple dress. I wanted to show you. everyone how to make a sellable, simple dress. This is a very simple, simple dress. There's so much more you can do to this, but all by itself, it's sexy. It passes GA. It has a little bit of a flair or swag, whatever you want to call that, and it will sell. This will sell. But what I want to show you is this. I'm going to take myself, I'm going to go to my rooms, and I'm going to find a room that has windows in it. I'm going to show you something on editor that you really need to know when you're making a fit. Okay, I'm going to go here. I think there's windows in here. I think. Yes, there is. There's a few windows in here. Okay. All right. On your editor, I want you to scroll down. There's a scroll here on your right-hand side. I want you to go to your dress, not your underwear, but your dress. Now you see these two-sided? You always want a dress to be two-sided because you can see up your dress. So you don't want to see up your dress and not see anything on the other side. So you always want it to be two-sided. Self-illumination, what that does is take shadows off your dress. If you don't want it to appear to be shadows on your clothing, then you would click that. It can brighten whites, or really it brightens any color. And sometimes you do want a shadow to appear, and sometimes you don't. Over here is skin composite. That is really doesn't make a difference unless you're in underwear. That means that it's taken the place of the skin. But what I want to show you right now is use blending. If a lot of meshes already have it clicked, this is why I want to stress this. When you use blending, if you see my dress, it's solid. I'm going to use blending. It's still solid. The reason it's still solid is because my opacity is all white. If I have any gray in there, in my opacity, if I put some gray in there, then my opacity would be see-through where that gray is. Now, what I want to show you is this. If you look through a window with your blending on,
Oh, you see the underwear.
you see the underwear.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people hate that. There is this particular fit, it doesn't need it, so why would you have it on? If you if you want see-through in your fit, then I understand, but there is no reason for this particular fit to have it.
Exactly.
So why would you? It will turn people off to selling. You're selling your fits. If they notice that and there's no reason for it. Now, if you want some transparency in your skirt, that's great, and do that. Put some gray in your opacity and click your blending, and it will give you that see-through look. But if you don't need it, then don't use it. And that is the end of making your dress. I can show you really fast appropriate ways of using your we'll just do this of publishing. I'm not going to actually publish, but I'm going to show you really fast what you want to do. First, you want to make a 100 by 80 um, picture. I use 5 pictures. One of those is a brand, a logo of my own that I found. I suggest that everybody brand themselves. And what branding means is that it's your same colors, it's your same, it's like a little logo, it's your same thing. And I suggest that everybody use that because then if people get used to seeing you, they can go through the shop and they recognize your brand immediately. They don't have to search for your name, they can see your brand. And you know it just helps you with your sales. For a new person just starting something like this, you would probably want to name it pretty simple. You have to think of how people search in the shop. My dress is an extra extra large, so I'm going to start out with that. I'm going to name it extra extra large. It's black, so I'm going to name it that. It's a long dress, so I can just say long dress. It's also sequin. You could name it black sequin dress. But for people just starting out that don't have that recognition, you want to name your dress as simple as possible. The very first thing that comes up in shop is the name. Then we already made sure it's general audience. Your price is whatever you want to make it. I usually make mine as close to, I just have an 810. 810 is what I make mine. from a normally. For a regular fit, I make it 810. That means my profit is 311 for this fit. On your search keywords, this is so important. I've ran into so many people who do not use these, and it's ridiculous because that's sales. Search keywords. You think of how someone will search for your dress, and this is secondary to your name, so you don't need to repeat anything in your name. It's a it's a maxi dress. It's a gown. It's sequins. You want everything to be separated by a comma. So it's a sequin gown. It's a formal gown. It's an evening gown. It's sexy. It's a cocktail dress, maybe. And you have dress already, so you want to put that in there. Um, your initials. Yeah, you could put classy in there. Your initials. I put both of my initials that because my previous name was Mrs. Lori Sage Vince, and so some people search me under that name, so I still use those initials. You can
That's nice. I didn't never know that. So you can put your own initials in there.
Yes, you can put your initials, and some people use their initials in the title.
Okay.
It'll bring their initials up faster. So some people use title in the title. I like fancy names sometimes, so I want to save my spaces. But you can use 12 of these, all spaced by a missed the name, a comma. Yes, I always use 12. If I have to search for a word, I don't care what it is. If I have to think of a stupid word, I always use 12. And another trick is to misspell. Whenever I make a piece of jewelry, I spell necklace 6 ways because not everybody can spell.
That's correct.
So, in your searches, if you ever go into shop and search, misspell something and you will find things come up.
Matter of fact, I just did that. So yeah,
Yes.
correct.
Yes. So a lot of times if you're making things and you can't think of a word, misspell it on purpose to bring up your searches. And then you just depending what the mesher wants, you can click off of these, allow derivative and allow inclusion in third party bundles. It if they allow it, you can leave it on. It doesn't really matter. And then you just submit to shop. And when you get to submit to shop, you click publish. It'll bring you up to another one. You click and you do publish, but I'm not going to publish. So, okay, and that's how you make a simple piece of clothing. And it's a simple piece that's sexy and looks nice, and you can sell.
Well, that was very easy.
You're welcome. Okay, thanks. All right. Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to pause it right now because I want to see if I got to save it somewhere.